Hi everyone, this is Vera from Vera Wise Creations. Welcome again, and I'd like today to show you how to draft the bodice block using the Aldrich method. Winfred Aldrich from the book Metric Pattern Cutting for Women's Wear by Winfred Aldrich. Just to explain a bit, I was inspired to do this video because being a lecturer, I noticed a lot of students actually have a hard time trying to draft this particular block, and I'm hoping that this video will be helpful to, just for the whole process of trying to understand the block. So just to show you, this is how the basic block looks like. So this is what we're going to be drafting. That's the back, that's the front. And for this particular block by Winfred Aldrich, the measurements that we require, because it's the block that fits the upper part of the body, of course it goes all the way to the hip line. So we're going to require the bust measurement, the neck to waist measurement, the waist to hip measurement, the arm side depth measurement, the neck size, the shoulder measurement, the back width, the dart measurement, and the chest measurement. Please do check out my video on how to take body measurements for this particular draft. It's linked below. And for just as a small recap, the tools that you will require: you need your tape measure, always to just make the measurements, and of course you need a ruler. We'll be using it to plot out the measurements. I always have my squares in handy, and this particular one has the French curve, so it will be of great use. It also has a curved edge that you can use to curve, and also they require the variform curve for this drafting, and marker pen in this case. In your case, you can use a pencil, as we already talked about in the earlier video. So I will go ahead. Remember, we have these measurements, and I want to go ahead and draft the Aldrich using this Aldrich, Winfred Aldrich method, in hopefully the simplest way possible. And what I encourage everyone is, when you try this method, do it repetitively, so that then you're able to master it. And yes, the book does have several points. As you noticed on this particular block, I have not labeled the points. I want to be able to take you through so that you're able to understand exactly how you can draft, and just be able to be part of, understand how you, what part of the body are you working on. So as we are drafting, I'm going to be giving a few explanations that should be of great help. So I'll be referring also much to that block as we draft. So to begin the draft, now whenever we're drafting the block, we basically use half of the body, half of the front and half of the back. So you find from here to here is half of the back, and from there to there is half of the front. That's what we draft, because most often than not, the body is symmetrical, so whatever is on this side is on this other side, except for special cases, which there is how to deal with that, right? So that is why we draft half back and half front. So to begin, we create a frame within which half of your body lies, and I usually just mark inwards about 2 inches, just to create some margin, about 2 inches inwards, to draw my first vertical line, which will be on the center back side. So I mark from that point, and draw it straight down, and keep the line as straight as possible. I just extend it a little bit because we will be drafting all the way to the hip line, right? So once you have that, I get a point here, mark a point there, and I actually square across. square. So this is how to work with the square and the ruler. Oops. Extend that line on this straight line. It's easier to draft this one. Alright, so I extended it a bit long, but it's okay. You will notice there could be a difference on the center front side. So once we have that, for this particular one, we mark from this point, mark down 1.5 centimeters. Okay, that we are lowering the neck, we're getting the neckline position for the back. Once you have that 1.5 centimeter down, then from this point you need to mark your arm side depth, which is around where your armhole line is. So the arm side depth in this case was 21.8. Yes, so our arm side depth measurement is 21.8. We add a 0.5 just to give it some allowance. So that gives us 22.3. So you mark 22.3. And once you get that point, the next thing is to square across to the other side. Now, remember, this is our armhole line. Somehow your armhole will fit in that line. So this is the line on which we actually plot our bust measurement. And to get the bust measurement, it is half of the bust plus 5 centimeters. This is ease. So half of the bust measurement plus 5 centimeters, so 96.5, half of it is 48.25 plus 5 centimeters, we get 53.25. So at this particular point, you will come and plot that 53.25. Once you get this point, you will square down and square up. So I like to use my square up and down. Once I get that here, guys. Now, according to now at this point, remember, we've marked half of the bust plus 5 centimeter ease, and then we are squaring up and squaring down. Now, one perhaps correction I need to make here is, according to the Aldrich method, any size above 14, this particular size is size 16. So any size above 14, you have to add 0.5 centimeters going up. So we will extend this line a little bit upwards by 0.5 centimeter and then square that way, just halfway a bit, not so much. So we may need to sort of ignore this line, and I keep repeating this mistake, but yes. So we square down. You'll notice the difference is that the front part will be a little bit higher at the neckline area than the back. Now, once we have this point, remember that's our armhole line, the next point is to get the waistline. And the waistline, you use the nape to waist measurement In our case, it was 35.5 centimeters. You mark it from this lower point here. You mark it from this point, mark 35.5 centimeters and square across. So again, you can do that. Square across all the way to the other side. Okay, this is your waistline. Okay, then the next is to get our hip position. For this particular client, the waist to hip measurement was 24 centimeters. So from the waistline, you measure down 24 centimeters. I like to just measure on both sides so that it's easy. I can join them up and short distance and 24. So at this point you square across, or you can do the same trick and right. So now this is our hip line. And so you can now see the body of this particular client, the frame, the front, the back, the front and the back lie within this size, and it has a little bit of ease. So it's important to label center back, and center front. Also written in short form CF. Oops, gone all the way up. Yes. So we have that's our center front, that's our center back. So now we begin to plot the neckline. Now all these body parts so that we are able to come in. I hope you do understand. This is just around where we're going to plot our neckline. This is around the armhole area. This is the waist area. And this is the hip line, right? So we come to the back portion of this pattern. For the neck, usually here, our neck size is 38 centimeters. To get the value of the neck, it's a fifth neck for the back side minus 0.2. So our neck size was 38, a fifth of that is like 7.6 centimeters, minus 0.2 is 7.4. So you come and draw that, plot out the 7.4, and then we create our neckline curve. I like to use this part. To create that neckline curve. So from that point, we need to plot out the shoulder line. Now to get the shoulder line, you get a fifth of the arm side depth measurement minus 0.7, and in this case that it's about 3.6. A fifth of arm side depth, the arm side depth was 21.8, and then you get a fifth of that, you get about 4. Final answer is 3.66. So I will come and plot that 3 point. Now this particular portion, as I square it out, you square it out halfway, you don't square it out all the way. That is where you're going to now put in your shoulder measurement. Now, if I didn't mention earlier, we'll be making a few adjustments to this particular Aldrich draft. So for the shoulder line, I will go ahead to plot the shoulder measurement direct without adding the dart. So I don't include the back dart for the shoulder. So our shoulder measurement was 12.2. Now, once we have this line, you come from this point and come and draw in your shoulder with that particular measurement, which is 12.2 centimeters. Once you have that point, you draw in your shoulder line. Next, we come to the armhole area, and in this case we will use the back width measurement. Remember, you're getting the distance from there to there, so we use half of it because we're using half. We are plotting half of the back. So our back width measurement was 33, so half of that is 16.5, and so 16.5 we add a little bit of ease of 0.5, so we plot it at 17 centimeters. So that's for the back width position. Once you have that, then you square it up so that it meets this line. So you come in with your square, it all the way up so that it comes to that line. And at this point, we need to mark the position for shaping in the armhole and also mark the position for the dart. So to shape in the armhole, you measure this distance. It's about 18.6. 18.6 divided by 2, that is 9.3. Right? So we mark, kind of just mark that point. We will use it a little later when you're carving out the armhole, as you can see here. And then right here, we also need to create darts to be able to shape the body. So again, you come here, measure the distance from here to there, from the center back to this particular point. Measure that distance. It's about 17. Get half of that distance, which is 8.5. Now, not to worry, some of these measurements I did them prior to recording of this video so that I can be able to explain to you a little bit faster. So 8.5, and from that point you square down. Now you can square down, you can measure them all the way and just join up. So 8.5 there, 8.5 here, and 8.5 right there. Then you join this lines with a dotted line, because this is our dart position. Or is it a dashed line? It's our dart position for the back part. Now, at this particular point, we will move to the front side so that we are able to plot out the front side, and then we will eventually, as you can see, we have a shared point here. So at this point, we'll leave it at this, then we move to the front side so that we get all these values and then eventually carve out our armhole. All right, so on the front side, we go back to the neck. So for the upper neck on the front side, remember here we used a fifth neck minus 0.2. Right here we are going to use a fifth neck minus 0.7. So our neck size is 38. A fifth of that is 7.6. So 7.6 minus 0.7, here you get 6.9. You mark that.